Right here in Oklahoma, we're a perfect laboratory. We have some of the most impactful weather on the earth.
We oftentimes have a pretty big data gap between the surface and several hundred feet above our heads. And of course, that's where the weather's happening.
Drones are an incredibly unique opportunity that we have because it allows us to capture observations without putting humans at risk.
I believe this is a paradigm shift in how we observe the world around us.
When we're talking about severe weather, you've got your surface observations on the ground, but we also have things like satellite that can provide different perspectives, especially in hard to reach areas. We need vertical observations of what the rest of the atmosphere looks like, and we get those through weather balloon launches. The problem is that there are a lot of spaces between those observation sites. We have one here in Norman, Oklahoma, for example. But the next closest site is Texas or Kansas. There's a lot of space between those. There's hundreds of miles before you get to the next observation.
Most of the real critical weather data that we still get that goes into the forecast models comes from these, a radiosonde. This is flown on a small helium weather balloon that goes up to about 100,000 feet. The balloon bursts and these essentially fall wherever they may.
Just over the last year or two, we have seen a little bit of a disruption in those weather balloon releases because of the cuts to the National Weather Service. With the loss of the integrity of those weather balloon launches, it does stress the need for, more and more data.
We utilize things like trucks, for example, that have equipment on them so that we can move with the storm, we can get close, we can spread out, and that's why new technology, things like drones that we're starting to use to collect those observations in areas that you can't put a vehicle, as well as vertically off the surface so that we get a deeper profile of what especially the lower part of the atmosphere is doing. These are absolutely critical elements of how severe storms are able to produce the hazards that we as humans experience.
All of these systems are what we call vertical takeoff and landing. We're trying to treat them essentially like that weather balloon profile, where that system goes up to measure that atmosphere in a single latitude and longitude. The meteor drone is the most mature, circular fuselage with a hexcopter configuration and a sensor array which would be utilized on ascent. The great thing about this system is it's able to fly at relatively high winds as well as to high altitudes. We've flown this one in particular up to 20,000 feet. The CopterSonde came along after, and the idea behind that program is, can we create a low-cost system that is affordable for researchers as well as government agencies? This one will actually, like a weather vane, align itself with the wind. So that way it will point in the direction of the wind and ingest the air in here to measure those atmospheric parameters.
So we're here at the Kessler Farm, which is operated by the University of Oklahoma. Today we're working with our uncrewed aircraft system to fly vertical profiles, so straight up, straight down, 5,000 feet above the ground. Putting sensors on a drone sounds trivial, but it's not. The drone itself is, of course, creating a lot of turbulence with its rotors. The motors get warm. There's a lot of ways that the drone itself can impact the environment.
Right now he's at 630 meters.
While we've had this long history of deploying these in science projects, now we're going to be operating these in a more routine way. So forecasters can depend on that data being available, and they can actually integrate this into their workflows.
We are approaching a record number of tornadoes in the state of Oklahoma for the month of March this season, so we're off to a busy start. This shows us some of the vertical profiles that we've received from drones down at Kessler Farms recently. This dashboard displays the data on top of either our observations or model forecasted profiles of the atmosphere and see if there are any biases or errors in our expectations of the atmosphere being taken directly from the drones. Currently, the drones are achieving an altitude of about 5,000 feet above the ground, which is very useful for sampling the lowest layer of the atmosphere. However, in the future, probably an ideal altitude of about 10,000 feet or so would be most useful in operational forecasting.
Ultimately, all of the work that we do here at NOAA's National Severe Storms Laboratory is trying to improve the warning forecast, to get better at predicting when these types of events are going to occur, getting more accurate warning information so that people can take action to protect life and property. Not only is the work that we're doing important for downstream effects, it's also incredibly important right now, today, for improving the warning process immediately.